So, good morning to all. Welcome back to the WRM class series. Today, let us discuss about water governance and water policy in India. And in previous classes, we have been discussing about the integrated water resources management and the scope of it and different objectives of integrated water resource management. And water governance and water policy helps to implement that integrated water resources management. And let us see in India how the water governance and water policy works. What is water governance? Water governance is related to the range of political, social and economic and administrative system that are in a place to develop and manage water resources and the delivery of water resources at different levels of society. To make it more simple, water governance is the set of systems that control decision making with regard to the water resource development and management. Hence, the water governance is much more about the way in which decisions are made. That is, how, by whom, and what under what conditions that decisions are made are more effective than and more important than the decisions themselves. Then what is water policy? Water policy encompasses the policy making processes that affect the collection, preparation, use and disposal of water to support human uses and to protect environmental quality. The second dimension of issues addresses how policies are created, executed and amended. It's a bottom to top approach. Here the public sector, that is actual stakeholder, takes the first part, and then elected officials, regulatory agencies, water police, policies, management staff and water management. Legal and regulatory framework of water is viewed as a constitutional, legislative, regulatory laws and managerial rules through which judgment can be determined in a given legal case, which together establish the water rights. Legal framework play an important role in the management of water resources at a range of scales from local to national and as well the international levels. Water law serves in three functions. It defines and identifies the legal rights and duty or complement of public and private water users. It provides tools for ensuring continuous morality of the organization, that is through governance structures, mechanisms for monitoring, evaluating and dispute prevention. It allows the modifications of the existing organization in order to able to adapt to the changing water needs and conditions. So elements of national water laws are like this. The framing of water related laws should include provisions and operational mechanisms that authorize regulating multiple uses and aimed also at promoting conservation and protecting the resource. The law must be a balancing view of economic, environmental, ecosystem, social and cultural demands, and establish norms and standards for the optimal regulation of sustainable development and management of water resources. There are mainly two main areas for that, and one is water rights and allocation, and second one is the water quality. When the question of water rights and allocation comes, water is a flowing resource. Nobody can own it. Okay, we can use water, but I can't own it. Okay, thus water is right. Water right is the right to use water, not to misuse or not to overuse. Who is allowed to use water, when, where and how are the very challenging issues of law, and that must be covered in legal framework. At the national level, concept of property law have been used for the management of water resources. So, however, it is also recognized that land and water rights are totally different types of rights, because the resource must be shared among multiple users. Here, water should be shared among multiple users, whereas land rights are completely private. Okay, only somebody or actual owner will be there for land, but for water, when the question of water comes, it is a correlative than rather than private. Then water quality. The legal framework for water quality relates to the biological, chemical composition and physical condition of raw water quality. Raw water quality is affected by human activities that can be grouped into two categories. One is point source, one is diffuse or non-point. Point source of pollution means you can definitely and demarcate the exact source of pollution, whereas in diffuse pollution you can't say where the pollutants came from exactly. You can't say, it's not it can't be demarcated to an area or to a point. Legislation can regulate such activities through prohibiting contaminants and the use of licenses, permits or authorization, and zoning or protection areas. Licenses or permits may use wastewater discharge to river or stream-based standards like drinking water standards. Economic instruments such as pollution charges like fine or penalty are used in some countries to control the water quality. And the national law licensing regimes and the standards incorporate require sufficient regulatory resources to ensure the enforcement as well as the adequate scientific evidence to formulate the standards. When the question of water quality comes, we always the BIS comes in mind. It was drawn up in 1983, and the standard was adopted by the Bureau of Indian Standards with the objectives to assess the quality of water resources and to check the effectiveness of water treatment and supply by the concerned authorities. The various parameters like color, odor, pH, total dissolved solids, hardness, and elemental compounds like iron, manganese, nitrate, fluoride, cyanide, mercury, and E. coli bacteria. Here to discuss, everybody want crystal clear water to consume, especially for drinking. And if we have more content of iron and manganese or aluminium, it will give slight reddish color or slight yellowish color to the water. Okay, and really we can't consume the colored water. And odor, when you have more content of iron than prescribed limit in water, it gives a very foul smell to the water. And even pH should be in between 6.5 to 8.5, and if you have more content of nitrate, it will lead to very deadly disease called blue baby syndrome. And fluoride also sclerosis, dental sclerosis, or different type of skeletal sclerosis. And all these arsenic, chromium are very highly threat to the human health. For enabling the above things, the National Water Policy, National Water Commission plans, Central Groundwater Board, and National Water Commissions, etc., are the government systems from central government and as well as state governments. Let us discuss one by one. National Action Plan on Climate Change. This is the India's first national action plan on climate change, outlining existing future policies and programs addressing climate mitigation and adaptation. It has 8 core national missions. Let us see one by one. What are those? One is National Solar Mission, National Mission for Enhanced Efficiency, National Mission on Sustainable Habitat, National Water Mission, National Mission for Sustaining Himalayan Ecosystem, National Mission for Green India, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. So these are all 8 core missions of NAPCC. So we are interested here. Fourth mission, and the Ministry of Water Resources and river development and Ganga rejuvenation lays down policies and programs for development and regulation of the water resources. National Water Mission is one of the mission under NAPCC, and a national water mission will be mounted to ensure the integrated water resource management, helping to conserve water and to minimize wastage and to ensure the equitable distribution both across and within the states. There are 5 identified goals. First one is comprehensive water database and in public domain, and assessment of impact of climate change on water resources, and promotion of citizen and state action for water conservation and augmentation, and as well as preservation. Focused attention to vulnerable areas including overexploited areas increasing, and fourth one is increasing water efficiency by 20% and promotion of basin level integrated water resource management. These are all some features, that is review of national water policy, research and studies in all aspects related to impact of climate change on water quality, and expeditious implementation of water resources project, as particularly the multi-purpose projects, and promotion of traditional system in water conservation, and intensive water programs for groundwater recharge in overexploited areas, incentivize the recycling of water, especially wastewater, planning on principle of integrated water resource management and development, ensuring the convergence among the various water resources program. So the important thing, the most important thing of National Water Mission is a traditional system of water conservation. So let us see some of methods and some of the pictures on traditional water conservation methods from good old days in India, and especially in desertic tracts of India. People from ancient days, okay, they have very effective methods for water conservation and management, and some of them, let us see. One is jalas, and jalas are typically rectangular shaped step wells. These step well collect subterranean seepage. See the beauty of these jalas of an upstream reservoir or lake. You can see this type of jalas in especially in Rajasthan, okay, Jodhpur. Talabs are reservoirs that store water for household consumption for drinking purpose. In Udaipur, Bundelkhand, not only in Bundelkhand and Udaipur, we can see this type of structures in some structures of Mughal Empire time, and in Bijapur also we can see in almost all the buildings, architects of at that time, the time of Mughals, we can see this type of structures for water conservation. Bauri is unique step wells, and these have been constructed at the foothills and the outskirts of the cities, and the little rain, whatever incident on the hills, are diverted to the man-made tanks, and these water have been used in their tough time. And see the beauty of construction here. And Tanka is a traditional rainwater harvesting technique indigenous to the Thar desert region. Tanka is cylindrical paved underground pit into which rainwater from rooftops, country yards, or artificially prepared catchment flows. Once completely filled, the water stored in Tanka can last throughout the dry season and is sufficient for a family of 5 to 6 members, depending on the proportion of the Tanka. Okay, and they are very simple but great conservation structures which have been constructed before 16,000 AD. And dairy or tanks, it's a system of not only Tamil Nadu, almost all temples of South India are supported by this type of systems. Okay, they are always backed with the pond or some type of water conservation and flood control systems at the temples within the temples or just aside the temple. So these areas act as flood control system, prevent soil erosion and wastage of runoff during periods of heavy rainfall, and also recharge the groundwater. So the main intention of these areas or tanks or ponds, what we say kere in Kannada, is always associated with our temples. Here our temples and our ancient people treated water is also a divine thing, and we have to conserve and we have to save it for next generation, and that is the greatest thing of our ancient people. This is Samtek model. We can see it's one of rainwater harvesting structure at Maharashtra. So one of the missions or commissions under to govern this integrated water resource management is Central Water Commission. Central Water Commission is divided among 3 wings, namely Designs and Research wing, Water Planning and Project wing, and River Management wing. And allied functions are grouped under these 3 respective wings. There is separate human resource management unit to deal with human resources management and development, financial management, training and administrative matters. In order to achieve better management in the water resources sector and have better coordination with the state departments, CWC has established 13 regional offices. These are the 13 regional offices located at Bengaluru, Bhopal, Bhubaneswar, Chandigarh, Coimbatore, Hyderabad, Lucknow, Nagpur, Patna, Shillong, Siliguri and Gandhinagar. National Water Academy is a training institute of Central Water Commission. It's located in Pune for training of central and state in-service engineers. National Water Policy of 2012 is formulated by the Ministry of Water Resources of the Government of India to govern planning and development of water resources. The first National Water Policy was adopted in 1987. It was reviewed and updated in 2002 and 2012. It accounts for 16% of world's population. Actually, India is having more than 16% of world's population and less than 4% of world's water resources. One of the solutions to solve a country's water problem is to link the rivers of Himalayan terrain and peninsular terrain. This concept or this phenomenon came this type of phenomenon came into existence that because Himalayan rivers are always supported by the Himalayan tract or ice caps, whereas the peninsular rivers are supported only by the rainy seasons. Only the rainwater is the source of peninsula or rivers, and they are ephemeral. They won't flow throughout the year, whereas the Himalayan rivers are perennial. Okay, perennial means they flow throughout the year, and water supply will be throughout the year, whereas peninsular rivers are non-perennial. So to overcome this problem, the linking of rivers has been thought. The features of national water policy is to establish standard national information system, to provide maximum availability by resource planning and recycling, to provide guidelines for safety and storage of dams, regulate the exploitation of groundwater, to give importance on human settlement and environment. So essence of policy, the main emphasis of 2012 National Water Policy is to treat water as economic good. The provision intended for privatization of water delivery services is being criticized. Okay, and the policy also does away with priorities for water allocation mentioned in 1987 and 2002 versions of the policy. For this privatization of water delivery services, many states did not approve the national water policy of 2012. The major provisions of the policies are it envisages to establish the standard national information system with a network of data banks and databases, resource planning and recycling of for providing maximum availability, to give importance to the impact of projects on human settlements, guidelines for the safety of storage dams and other water related structures, regulate exploitation of groundwater, settling water allocation priorities in a manner that first drinking water, then irrigation, then hydropower, then navigation. So drinking water should given the primary priority in water allocation. The water rates for surface and groundwater should be rationalized, and the policy also deals with participation of farmers, the actual stakeholders, and voluntary agencies, water quality, water zoning, conservation of water, flood and drought management, erosion, etc. The major features are to ensure minimum quantity of potable quality of water for essential health and hygiene, and to curtail subsidy to agricultural electricity users, setting up water regulatory authority to keep aside a portion of water flow to meet ecological needs, and to give statutory powers to water users association to maintain distribution system. Project benefited families have to bear part of cost of resettlement and rehabilitation of project affected families, to remove the large disparity between stipulation for water supply in urban areas and rural areas, and to support national water framework law. And these are other water related governance system. One is National Water Resources Council, and one more is National Water Board, and National Mission for Clean Ganga. You may heard about Namami Gange plan. So we know, we have already discussed that the Ganga, we treat Ganga as a holy river, but it has been polluted most probably beyond our limit to clean it. To actually overcome this pollution problem, the government of India in 2015 and 16 organized and came up with Namami Gange program, which integrates the efforts to clean and protect the river Ganga in a comprehensive manner with a budget of 20,000 crores for next 5 years. So in order to speed up the process, center has decided to take over that 100% funding of various activities by government only, and plans to provide for operation, maintenance and assets of the assets for minimum 10-year period. Public-private partnership and special private vehicle approach is being proposed to be adopted for controlling pollution hotspots, and in an attempt the bolster enforcement pollution, the center also plans to establish Ganga Task Force. It's already there. It's a territorial army unit which admits for Namami Gange program, and which is absolutely for to clean and protect the river water of Ganga. And here you can see the Namami Gange is finely explained here before the Namami Gange project, this area, and the same area after Namami Gange in 2019. I can see here the banks of Ganga. Jal Kranti Abhiyan, Minister of Water Resource and River Development and Ganga Regeneration celebrated Jal Kranti Abhiyan during 2015 and 16 to consolidate water conservation and management in the country through a holistic approach involving all stakeholders, making a mass movement. The objectives of Jal Kranti Abhiyan include strengthening grassroots involvement of all stakeholders, including Panchayat Raj, institution and local bodies in the water security and development schemes. Encouraging the adoption, the utilization of traditional knowledge in water resources conservation and its management, and enhancing livelihood security through water security in rural areas. So there are different command areas for water development. Let's discuss command area development and water management. It has been launched in 1974-75 for the development of adequate delivery system for irrigation water up to farmers filled with an objective to enhance water use efficiency and production and productivity of crops per unit land, and water for improving socio-economic condition of farmers. The program envisages the integration of all activities relating to irrigated agriculture in a coordinated manner with a multidisciplinary team under Command Area Development Authority. Initially, 60 major and medium irrigation projects were taken up under CAD program, Command Area Development Program. The program was reconstructed and renamed as Command Area Development and Water Management Program in 2004. And हर खेती को पानी more crop per drop, it is the actual mission of command area development. And unlike this, many more state government policies are also there for water governance and management and policy making towards integrated water management in India and as well in Karnataka. Now let us stop. Let us discuss in next coming classes. Till then, take care. Thank you.